Searching podcasts for Dave, and one more time.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before.
And 3,
Number 2.
1.
Woohoo!
Huh? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da. America. One Umerica. Umerica. One America. Man, I'm not that tired. One America, obviously united. One
Yeah.
America that has come together
Like never before.
like never before. Hey, but you know what? Before we get to that, just want you to know, you
You are
Oh.
welcome.
welcome. You're absolutely welcome because we are back. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Dave,
I'm Juan.
and this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
Woo!
Let me
Thank
point out
you.
real quick an observation. Yeah, we are both wearing black. I'm wearing solid black. You're wearing a cool Rick Springfield shirt. But I don't want anybody to get the idea that we're trying to, be in solidarity with the ladies of the View or anything by wearing black.
I missed. You know, Juan, believe it or not, I missed my regular watching of The View this week. Yeah, but you know what's so I'll give. Oh my gosh, we're already off on this, and that's fine. It shows you the world we're living in. I have never, ever, 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 ever tuned into The View,
No,
but
I didn't either. I just saw,
but
a news report that.
it gets clipped up like crazy because I'm
Yeah.
always seeing. I guess it's. I don't know. I don't know. I'm always seeing clips from it, and everybody's like, "Can you believe what they did on The View?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I can." I absolutely can. If you'd have told me one of them would have shaved her head on TV, I'd have believed it because that's part of what's going on. So, time stamping this, we're doing this on a Saturday. We're doing it a little bit early because LSU Alabama
Mm-hmm.
is coming up, and Juan needs to go get glued to the TV
Glued to the
set for that.
tube.
But this is Saturday. We're doing this November. What is it? The 9th.
Yeah, nice.
We had a few important things happen this past week. The presidential election,
Yes.
I would say, has totally come and gone. I believe it has. They're still counting out there. Now, it's not going to affect the presidential race.
No.
Trump,
They've got a couple of house races, I think, that
well,
will.
and Senate too. So, but Donald Trump won in a landslide. It
Mhm.
was what they referred to as too big to rig.
Yeah.
It became obvious early on. You kind of sensed that they were trying, but it was just too obvious. And I think Plan B has turned into, let's see if we can possibly. I think the appropriate term for it is steal a couple of Senate seats,
Yeah.
and but that's what's going on right now. So as we speak, and we are days now. What, 3 days, 3.5, 4 days
3, 4 days.
after Election Day, Arizona is still counting votes. They have not declared, as of right now, Trump to be the winner in Arizona. Like right before we came out, I think Nevada finally
Nevada
gave up
did earlier today, I think.
because they took a win because they stole a Senate seat. So going into Tuesday evening, and I forget the name, it was one's like that guy named Sam Brown. I think he was a veteran. He went up. He was up kind of by a little bit on election night. A lot of folks saying it looked good. He was going to take that seat, and then miraculously overnight, there were some votes were found. Nevada found some votes.
Yeah, they are
And,
back somewhere.
yeah, and that's what's going on in Arizona right now. Just to put things into perspective, last year, last election, Fox News and others called Arizona about 5 seconds after it
Mm-hmm.
after it closed, on nothing, on a fraction of a. I think Trump is up like 6 points, 7 points now. There are literally not enough votes left, right? And they haven't called it yet. So
Not enough votes that they know of.
right. So understand this, and again, whatever side of the divide you fall on. I was actually in Richmond, Virginia this past week, and spending a good bit of time with a really, really good friend of mine. I've known for 20 something years. I consider her one of my best friends in the
Your
industry,
industry.
and just friends. And she jokes about this. She knows that we are diametrically
Mm-hmm.
opposed. So we talked about this before, and I think that's cool. Like we had a nice discussion on, and I kind of hear her out, like what she's, but so it's possible to have, you can have friends
Yeah,
that just
I waited a day and then I sent a friend of mine who like this again diametrically
yeah
opposed. I just sent her a note, said, "Hey, just checking on you, just wanted you
yeah
to know, thinking about you."
well, and so there it is. But understand this: whatever side you're on, know that any state or county that is still counting votes,
Yeah.
supposedly, a couple days, 3 days, 4 days, a week after the election. They're cheating, y'all. That's all this is. It's 100%. And it's amazing how you can get away with it, apparently, if you have all the same party, checking up the
Mm-hmm.
line. And that's what's happening right now with Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake is she's a Republican candidate for Senate in Arizona. And the thing that's a little bizarro to me is you want to tell me that there were people that went in there and voted for Donald Trump and then voted for his
Yeah.
exact opposite for Senate? That's what you're trying to like when you have a huge gap between the votes for one, right? Um, and maybe you can show me just a handful, but there's no way that there are tens
No,
of
because
thousands.
this is what I end up doing. And I mean my ideology is not secret. If I'm not familiar, because I look, if I'll vote for either party if I think they're the better candidate.
Mhm.
If I know nothing about the candidate, I'm voting, party.
Right.
And I think most people are like that.
They took it away in Texas. Texas
Yeah.
used to have straight vote. Like you,
Oh, you can't. Yeah. Well, we don't do straight either. Oh, I guess you could. I don't know, but yeah.
no, we used to have you used to go to a voting booth around here, and you had that option. You just went click, and it voted. It
Yeah.
has
You
it's
went straight party.
which most people
The
do. Which most people do
Well,
anyway.
but in Louisiana, you can't necessarily do that because remember, we got the
Right.
jungle primary
Right.
thing where we don't have, you could have multiple candidates in the same party in state races.
It just seems like a bad name, that jungle primary stuff. As sensitive as we are, as hyper woke as this world is, I just got why that nobody's making a big stink about it being called a jungle primary. But um, yeah,
I am trying to look on my phone right now. You talk about bad names. I'll look for it while we're chatting. Somebody in the mayor's race here was just hilarious and hilariously named, but
so yeah, I
it's
didn't follow. We had some
I
local.
didn't follow much of it either.
We had local. Say our local elections. The guy that I did, one of the guys I brought up a few weeks ago, that the guy that falsified, he was making fake racial threats and insults
Oh,
against
against himself.
himself. Yeah, yeah, that dude lost. But so that gave me a little, a little hope. But my county, dude, I'm in a blue county, man. I am. Like Trump did not win my county,
Um,
which is hard
well,
to do in
they don't have the
Texas.
person's name on here because it was somebody. I don't know. Never mind. Pointless.
It better
They
be
don't have the
freaking
nickname.
hysterical, whatever it is. If you spend 2 minutes looking at your phone for
Yeah, I
somebody's
know.
name.
I know. They don't have the nickname on here. So,
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, it's a new world, guys, and it's going to be an interesting next couple of months as the transition begins.
Well,
And
even you saw like Charlemagne the God said yeah, oddly, so we've been calling this guy a Nazi and a fascist, and now we're going to welcome him to the White House for a peaceful transfer of power. What happened? Nobody seems to be saying that
well,
anymore.
his point, right? And he said some dumb stuff. I mean,
Oh
I think
yeah,
he's
he said it himself.
but yeah, he made a good point about so wait a minute. All of a sudden, you can't, and it is true. If you are telling the world, telling the country, telling the world that somebody is just absolutely the end of this country, and then they win in a landslide, and you're going,
Yeah, come on in.
well,
We're the good guys.
it's all good. Of course, look, that said, those of you and I, this is some assumptions here that we're doing this. This is going to be about almost a week after the election, and you've heard some of these things. But I'd sent a text to you and Rick during the week that on Wednesday or Thursday, it seemed to me that the happiest person in all of Washington D.C. was Joe Biden.
I thought that was hilarious. That summed it up so beautifully.
Man, there are people that you can tell when they're, kind of faking being in a good mood, and and then Biden, you never know, right? You never know if
Well,
he's
they
there.
said when he came out Wednesday, and I didn't get to hear it
I
live.
did. I
When
did.
he did his whatever speech, they said that was the most energetic and chipper that they have seen him in
I don't even
forever.
know what happened there. He walked out with a different. In fact, if that version of Biden would have showed up 2 or 3 months ago, we'd have gone through. Remember when they were all saying they were body doubles, and
Yeah.
everybody was accusing, like, well, that's not him. Man, he had a pep in his step. He didn't slur. He spoke. He
We may have been having a different conversation.
Well, I think, and I've heard some theories saying, well, maybe they put him back on the good meds now. Maybe they,
Well,
or it was early in the morning, and he
yeah.
hadn't sundowned, and
I do like the way now, though, everybody's saying that Trump is too old.
oh,
And
geez.
obviously he won't last 4 years.
He the stuff he did in the week leading up to
Dude, they
the
said he
election,
didn't sleep for 3 days.
it was unbelievable. I thought there's no way that this guy is doing, and yeah, right. You got your own plane, and it's a nice plane, and it's everything like that. But look, I
But from
talk a
what
little
I
bit.
heard, stuff that says, like flying back from his final rally.
You don't sleep on his plane.
Right. He said he's calling people up. He's got people saying, "Hey, I need reports on this. I need, who we got people at the polls. What's the lines looking like?"
Right.
And
So, and polls came and went. And I think everybody was sort of watching it first, thinking, I think all of us, we were lied to. But we know we're being lied to. We always say that. We know that. And, if you watch Dave and Juan for 3 years, those guys, they're all lying all the time. It's what they do. And when I say they, I mean all of them.
mhm.
Everybody, except I think right now the podcast, and not just ours. We told you before, we don't knowingly lie. We may be wrong, but it ain't because we want to be. But just the
Well,
news is
right.
they're just
Because
making it up.
now even some of the stuff I tell you before, uh, I spent a lot of time in the car this week, and so I've got satellite radio. I listen to MSNBC, which I've never listened to before.
You've been on a what do they call it, a Schadenfreude? What's the
I don't
Schadenfreude
know.
tour?
I've been just in a gloating mode. Uh, and so they're talking about how, do we need regulations on things like Twitter and on online broadcasts, which they mean podcast.
Right.
And then, someone said, and they were talking about this on listening to the Five on Fox yesterday, and they're saying, well, it's not fair because Democrats don't have a Joe Rogan. And one of the guys said, you had a Joe Rogan. The show was called The Joe Rogan
Rogan
Show.
Experience. Yes, Joe Rogan is a liberal. He's been a liberal.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan supported Bernie Sanders
Right.
openly. He was open, big time supporter of Bernie Sanders. He spent a good part of his time. He was never. I don't know that he ever went hard on Trump, but he was not. He made fun of
He
Trump.
was not a Trump fan by
Liberal
any
guy.
stretch of the imagination. I think when the liberal media started slamming him,
Well, he woke up with the COVID stuff when they were lying. CNN was flat out lying on him, saying these things, and and it came around, and he was a big fan of Robert Kennedy Jr. And read the the Fauci book and stuff, and then again,
Hell, Elon Musk was a liberal.
100%. He came out earlier and said he never voted Republican.
Supporter of the biggest asset in the green movement.
Right.
And now I tell you what, it's almost got me to the point that if I needed a car, I'd consider buying a Tesla.
I'm not gonna go there yet. I would.
They did say, and I heard this on Rogan yesterday. They said that on election night, he had his own app, accessing results, and they said he had results like 4 hours before.
He knew,
and he left the party. He said, "It's over. I'm gone."
He called it. He called it like 4 hours before everything, because he whatever app he had, and I guess it was a private app. That was just pulling up public data, but he knew where to get.
Right.
So that was always my thing too about watching for the cheating, was that I figured he had to have. And that's the other thing. Again, when you talk about strategies, and everybody can Monday morning quarterback, but we've kind of talked about this before about what kind of bubble and how stupid can you be. You got a guy like Musk, who there are people now that used to worship him. I mean, just thought he was whatever. And now they think he's evil incarnate, which is always weird to me. All right. So he's
only because he flipped sides.
But nobody will deny that this dude is off the chart smart. I mean, and I don't know how you do like total IQ. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about an ability to just see the future, an ability to just build stuff, right? He's got that and understand things. So, and he's also the richest guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In fact, this week after the election, he became the first person worth over $300 billion.
Yeah. His like the day after, when Tesla stock took a spike. So but he's over $300 billion now. So he's got some resources. He's also one of the most technology, internet, and he can do anything he wants. Right.
Why do you make that guy? What's the sense of making that guy your target? Right. And especially when you saw early on how many people he told to F off.
Yeah.
I mean, and not in private, on stage.
No, right. That's what you call, some people have, FU money. Some people have F me money.
Oh,
where he don't care. Okay.
So, and what I heard today, reference on one of the shows I was listening to, is apparently Musk is spending right now. He's down at Mar-a-Lago. And they're not playing. Like this thing that he's going to lead, and all the things about redoing.
The Doge has a cool name. I like that name too.
So they are flat out serious about.
Yeah, he spent the last month in Pennsylvania.
And
he was on the call with Zelensky or whatever.
And I mean, some of the stuff that's coming out. So it's going to be. There are a lot of things that are going to be happening. Here's the bizarro world we live in. So if Trump wins last time, okay, if the things, and we mark my words, guys, and we can't, you gotta watch how you get, podcast throttle. They still trying to control stuff you can talk about and not talk about. The more they dig,
I heard a new phrase about that. It's called, they put you in the digital ghetto.
The digital ghetto. We've been there before, which is weird. It's not like, we're just a couple of goobers just having at this, but we can tell when we talk about the wrong things, and all of a sudden, like, oh, wow, David Juan podcast doesn't pop up on anything anymore. Yeah. Like so we probably ought to do this on X. We probably should just go ahead.
I need to look into that. I do. I thought about that during the week.
Okay.
So I got to figure out how to do that.
So if they're looking at some things now, some inconvenient truths, some facts that people were and lives were destroyed over in the past 4 years for questioning things. I got it. I remember I used to get into it when Facebook.
Dude, I will tell you, I
lost friends on that.
I've nodded in just to go along when we've talked about the whole election steal 4 years ago. When you look at the numbers now, it's the most inconsequential election of our times, yet we garnered less votes.
No, the most consequential, not inconsequential.
The most consequential, that's right.
Yeah.
Then we garnered less total votes than we did 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, the vote that favored Biden surpassed any other
Everything,
election
everything.
in the last more than more than 30
So the
years.
lie, what would help with the lie was that incredible spike. Okay. And you'd say, well, that's just what happened. That's just all the votes that are out there. That's blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then you have this election, which everybody knows with the massive early votes, with the massive data. I mean, everybody saw
With
that
Trump moving the needle in every sub demographic.
okay. So you look at the total votes cast in America, and gee willikers, what, as the kids would say, what happened? There are just an awful lot of missing votes. Just a big old mess of missing votes and look, there were so many records destroyed, but there's some records out there.
Yeah.
You're going to see, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? It's hard. You can't turn back time.
No, I do think though, Trump will be more effective now
Oh,
than he would have been 4 years, a second
now
term.
effective
years ago.
meaning, you might be on you might like it or you might not like what you're about to
Right.
see happen. I don't. There's a point that I don't know how you not like. Like, here's what I can't get my head around. Even some of my friends who are liberal, either very liberal or kind of lean liberal, right? You start a conversation, and if you just ask, do you think our government's too big? Do you think we're sort of out of control? Let's go with we talked about it last week.
Mhm.
You know, my mom didn't hear about it. My mom said she finally got on the podcast. She goes, "Oh, they killed that squirrel."
My wife hadn't heard about it either.
Okay, so the line of like, I want a government that has neither the time nor the resources to have a 5-hour raid on a dude and take his pet squirrel and raccoon and euthanize them. Okay, so can we agree that government is it's just out of control? And even most of your liberal friends will say, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we only have one side that's even pretending or going to try to do something about that. I don't see how you what it, I don't know that it was always that way, but that's my big thing. It's like, man, I got all
No, it
excited
goes
when
back to, all the problems must be solved.
yeah,
Got these
I
guys laying around like road workers with nothing to do. Let's go get
listen.
that squirrel.
That was just an individual thing, but then I
Yeah.
heard like, and I hope they do this, and I think we've talked about. Well, no, we have talked about this before. Moving some of these departments out of DC.
Yeah.
I heard the other day somebody was floating, whether it was Trump or somebody else, getting the EPA out of DC.
Yeah, you
And
talked about that. Then we came up together and said, okay, why don't you put the Department of Energy down near where the energy is? Put
okay,
it in
wherever,
Houston.
and just start doing that.
Put the
Get
Department of Agriculture in Iowa.
decentralized. Yeah, get this stuff. We are a connected world now. There's no reason. All we're doing is making it easy for that cesspool to exist.
To get manipulated. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
easier to
easier to
manipulate them if they're
bribe
all in one
people. It's
spot.
easier. Yeah. So, well, we'll see what happens there. But no, the point was, if things wouldn't have broken the way they broke 4 years ago, and Trump he got his second term. Okay, he probably still would have had a Democrat House and Senate, give or take. It would have probably been. Now they can argue whether or not he would have swept or should have swept.
Mhm.
I don't know. But you know what would have been? What happened? It'd be over.
Yeah.
He'd be and he had a crew of backstabbing criminals around him
Right.
last time.
And we would have had, I think we'd now be back into a Democrat would have won this election.
Oh yes, yes, he'd have been probably relatively ineffective. Now we wouldn't have had 10 to 12 to 15, however many million
Right.
additional people we have now. But so that
It'd
would
be
be
funny though if you see the trend of Hispanic or Latino or whatever you want to call them votes
oh
continue towards the right.
uh-huh.
You'll have a whole different group of people who want to stop that.
I don't know how much of it is to the right and how much of that is to Trump. And that's going to be interesting to
Yeah,
see
that's a
what
good point.
happens after 4 years, because he is such a brand. He is such, and I'll give that credit. I mean, like I honestly think, and this is sounds like hyperbole, but if you start ranking, let's just say the last 200 years, the most famous people on the planet, who's more famous than Trump?
Yeah.
I mean, Musk, I guess Obama, who is looking kind of rough these days, man. I read some stuff about, they're talking about like his tone the last,
Well, they're all going to change. Nancy Pelosi came out yesterday and talked about that it was, Joe should have got out earlier. Well, Nancy Pelosi is one of the ones who said Joe was sharp as a tack.
knifed him. Yeah.
Said we should have had a primary. I've heard her say we did have a primary. Kamala was the only one who stepped up.
Yeah. Well, but that's why there's a disservice done when you have a media that will never push back on one side, because when you never get pushed back, you don't have to come up with better answers. One
Right.
of my lines is, look, I know you guys are all lying, but could you put a little more work into the lie?
Yeah.
Could you not insult me as much when you're lying? Like pretend, and that's actually the lie again with vote counts last time, where they pretended like, oh no, everybody was so motivated to get out and vote for Joe Biden in 2020, because that ball of thunder, ball of lightning in the basement, whatever, these votes, and how dare you question this, and how dare you, okay, and now, okay, that's opens up a whole new can of worms, saying, oh, wait a minute, what happened on that? And so now you got Trump coming back in, and I hope to goodness that they, because I think there's some special things that kick in as well when you are the president elect. So he was a former president, so that entitled him to Secret Service protection. So I don't know what kind of couillons. We saw the kind of couillons he had in Butler, Pennsylvania. Okay, that's when he was the nominee. Now he is the president elect. Okay, and if I'm him or his team, I'm going straight to like Navy SEALs or something, and saying, Secret Service, hey man, peace out. You guys go guard the golf course. I want, you got to get some, you got to step it up. That's all I'm saying. We got to step up because we thought, well, they were out of options to stop him. No, he's not. He's back. And he's got a lot smarter people around him this time who are ticked.
Yeah.
Like, you got, heck, man, two of his biggest brain trust, two of his biggest, I don't know if it's a word, consigliaries, two of his guys were Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro.
Yeah.
Both those dudes did jail time in the past year for pretty messed up, like they made stuff up. You think they're ticked? You think?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Bannon got out just in time.
Man, so it's gonna be, and we'll yuck it up a little bit, guys. But yeah, it's the biggest story, right? We're talking.
You talk about some of his guys. So, did you hear anything with Michael Cohen this week?
Well, he was
he was the attorney who flipped on Trump, and he did, I think, some jail time, or at least he may have got out of it because of flipping on Trump. But he was the one in the Stormy Daniels case that flipped on him. And so he came out Monday and said that if Trump wins, he said, I've already got a passport with a new identity in the works. I'm not even going to be able to take my wife and kids with me. I'm going to have to get out of the country. It's going to be that dangerous for me.
Yeah.
Then the next day, apparently he streams on TikTok in a way that other people can put graphics on it. So he's on there and people begin to slam him because he changed his mind.
Yeah.
He's not going to leave the country. And they're putting a turkey head on him.
Turkey head, mustaches. It's just like he's getting all frustrated and
it's like, I don't have to leave. Why don't you leave the country? You're an idiot. Real
I
mature.
saw a list the other day, and I don't know if it's exhaustive list, but it was a pretty long list that somebody on X put out there with, all right, here's all the people, and it's a long, and I'm reading it going,
Yeah.
That's So I mean, look, I was never, I ain't leaving the country. Where you gonna go?
No, look, man, and I have real estate agent friends who've posted smartly that said, hey, if you're moving because of the election, I know a real estate agent is willing to sell your house.
Well,
I also have a friend I've talked to before who's just a whack job out there. And was one of those who posted like the day after just thanking her husband for his comforting words and in such a trying and difficult time. And today they posted, that they've got as of yesterday, they're going to have a new life and blah, 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 blah. They're going to be in a happy place, but they won't tell anybody what. So it's the whole thing. I'm going to post this thing. I'm going to ask so you can ask me what I'm doing, but I'm not going to answer.
well, then you just have to put who cares.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
that's that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much needs to be the thing with most things. Like, who cares? Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Who
So
and
the
that's my thing too.
funniest
So, look,
thing though, the
I don't
funniest
think.
reaction I heard. So I stayed up late Tuesday night. I mean, I think I stayed up till close to 3. Um, so first thing Wednesday morning, I get up. So I got to get a Red Bull. So I go in the store, and I hear this lady on her phone asking somebody if they could borrow if she could borrow $100 for rent. So, all right. But then she goes into now, yeah, and she piques my curiosity. So I'm gonna sit down and listen. And yeah, if that's not bad enough, that MF for Trump won last night. And that's the biggest effing racist in the world.
Oh,
And then I'm
jeez.
talking about just in a store with people standing around, on and on, MF this, MF that. Uh then at the end of the conversation, she says, all right, baby, have a blessed day.
It's like Pavlov's dog. You
Yeah.
say his name, and some of these people just lose their minds, and it's like online right now. And I don't again that's how everything's connected. I'm not on TikTok. I don't watch TikTok.
Yeah, I've never seen TikTok.
Okay, but I see things sometimes on
Yeah,
X, or
people will
people,
share it from
or they're
TikTok.
or they're or they'll text me stuff. And apparently one of the big things now are these really I am 35% feel bad for them, 65% laughing at their pain for some of these people, because it's like a mental illness. These young women that are cutting their hair, shaving their hair, and it becomes like almost like a mental virus. They're doing
Yeah.
this, swearing off men and telling others to swear off men and blah blah blah. And I'm like, hey, good luck
Oh,
with
that
that.
must be why I saw the post that said Rosie O'Donnell has sworn off sex.
Well, that's
It was a joke, but
yeah. Well, Kathy Griffin, I think they said, like, shaved her head.
yeah.
I don't know, y'all. Get
Well,
over.
I think a lot of Charlie Kirk did a lot of his stuff where he focused on college campuses and
Oh
young
yeah,
voters and did a
dude,
lot of it on Twitter.
dude. University of Auburn. You know, when they win a football game, they toilet paper those trees.
Yeah.
They did that when Trump won. So they're basically saying, yeah, a lot of college campuses. Um, Look, there's also, and I've heard this from more than one source and have seen it. They said the SEC schools are blowing up right now. A lot of people in the Northeast um, don't want to send their kids to these Ivy League schools or
All right. Well,
these and now granted, don't get me wrong. Look, they got some insanity that goes on in a lot of
I
colleges.
think was it Harvard that had the
Oh,
couple comfort days where you could miss class and they
dude,
were serving milk and
I kind of
cookies and you could
well,
play with Legos and they had coloring books for you to
years
ease your
ago
mind.
when my youngest son went to University of Houston, right, where your daughter's about
Uh-huh.
to go. One of the things on the tours they showed us around finals week or the weeks whatever, they had puppies in the library
Yeah.
for stress, for if the young men and women wanted to go play with a puppy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I remember
When I was
standing
stressed, I went to the Iron Horse and had a drink.
there. Really, that or you just man the hell up. How about
Yeah.
that? You got stressed? Yeah, guess what?
Welcome to life.
That's right. So does that guy that's trying to make the rent. Um, But what jotted down here? Oh, I went to before we forget. It's gonna end. This was every now and then I find myself in a situation where it's not that I'm worried. It's not that I'm thinking, okay, am I on camera? Like okay, this can't be actually happening. But then sometimes I start laughing at the situation, thinking, okay, nothing else, this is going to be a story. All right. So I'm in Richmond. The hotel I spoke at was a pretty nice place, but I guess I booked too late or something happened. The room block was full, so I couldn't stay at the place. So I'm just look on a map. Let me find a place right next to it. And it was a Hyatt place,
And
which are
for those
normally
unfamiliar,
nice.
we're talking, you've talked before that you were in Richmond, Virginia,
Right.
right across the river from Washington, D.C.
Okay. So I'm up in Richmond, and I'm pulling into the Hyatt place, and it's always a good sign when you pull up and there's furniture stacked up in the parking lot. Furniture, right? I'm like, oh, and then I realized once I get in there, they were doing a remodel, which they never put on the site. Which
Dude, you're the king of getting in the hotels that are
100%.
being
I thought it
remodeled.
was a joke, man. I thought it was a joke. I could not believe I was doing this again. But the one I stayed at before was a little better. This one was it was a construction site. It sucked, but okay, whatever. My room was fine, clean. All right. So I leave. I go to a reception that evening. I was invited to. Nice time, great time with folks. So I head back, getting back to my hotel, and as I'm pulling into the parking lot, driving by to try to get toward the front of the parking lot, there's this guy, large individual, looked like he might live in the car he was in, kind of standing there, the car, and so I drive by and he's waving at me. So I just try to pretend I don't see him. I'm like, man, it's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm out of time. I head down, I drive away, and I park probably like, I don't know, 30, 40 yards away right in front of the hotel. Get out the car. Guys kind of walked over a little bit. He didn't get too close to me, but he walked over a little bit and he's kind of waving. He said, sir, you think you can give me a hand? And I'm like, oh, okay.
I could. I'm
And I'm
not.
standing there, man. I'm wearing a sports coat, dress shirt. I had jeans on because it was sort of a semi-casual thing, but
Yeah.
I'm dressed.
Right,
I'm
right.
dressed.
You're professional casual.
Professional casual. And I'm like, gosh, I said, maybe he wants money. Normally panhandlers are out on the street. Yeah, whatever. I'm thinking, and I hope the hand he wants isn't like to jump his car or
Yeah, I was
do.
gonna say he's asking the wrong guy if he needs mechanic help.
Yeah, and I'm in a rental car, man. I'm in a, I was in a Subaru. Rented. I was in a first time I ever drove a Subaru. I'm not even a lesbian. Um, and but I gotta
They're
say, it
good
was
cars.
nice. Now let me tell you something. I'm not gonna lie. It was a what's it called? Wilderness, Subaru
They've got the
Wilderness.
Legacy, they've got the Outback, and maybe the Wilderness. I don't know. It's
Might have been an
all
Outback. Well, very nice car. So anyway, so I'm like, gosh darn it. So I walk and I said, what do you need, man? And I'm kind of keep my distance. He says, can you help me get this sofa on top of my car?
so he was dumpster shopping basically, or side the road trash shopping.
As I started the story, I said, when I drove up, there's all this furniture in the parking lot. And I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry. Say, what you want to do what? And I noticed he had one propped up, and thankfully it wasn't like a 3, it was a 2. But anyway, it was a sofa, right? So a sofa sleeper. All right, those of you who
Those
know,
babies ain't light.
yes, those of you who have
They're not
lifted
light to carry 6 inches above the ground, let
correct.
alone throw it on top of a car.
So I'm like, you want to get this up onto. Yeah. I can't get a hand. I can't get it on my own. I'm not worried about damaging the car. And I was like, yeah, obviously. It's okay. And I'm like, I'm kind of joking a little bit. Said, dude, I got good friends who I would not help move a sofa.
Said I got a hernia, bro.
I've known you for 12 seconds, and honestly, Juan, I'm standing there, and I'm thinking, oh man, Jesus might be watching. And Jesus was like, and I do. I have bad knees. We've been talking about this.
Yeah.
Man, I got bad knees right now. And I was like, well, dude,
Did you take your jacket off to help?
no. I didn't take my jacket off or anything. I'm just like, well, And he says, and he's a big guy. He was probably about 6'2" or so, probably goes about 240, 250, kind of disheveled, he might live in the car for all I know. He said, I got a friend who needs a place to sleep. So I'm bringing that. I said, well, you're the best friend in the world. I mean,
well, sounds like he's got a place to sleep. Where's he gonna put this couch?
I don't know, dude. I didn't want to ask too many questions. I didn't want to, like I said, the car is just full of stuff. Like I said, he might live in a, and he starts telling me about he was around. He's working on a job and what he's doing and everything. And then we're just making small talk. He says, what's your name? I said, Dave. He said, well, everybody just calls me Bear. I said, all right, I'll call you Bear too. All right, Bear. How are we gonna do this? He says, well, okay, I'm gonna get the heavy part. I'm like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You get the metal part, and I'll get. Well, dude, first lift, we got that thing about halfway up, not happening, and I'm thinking, man, want to try to re second lift? Now, dude, I don't care how strong you are, how weak you are. When you are fully exerting yourself,
Yeah, you can't. I
and you
mean, there's
can't.
no leverage. Yeah, even if you could lean it onto the roof of the car, you still don't have enough of an angle
Well,
to
dude,
make that sucker light.
I just want you to know, in Trump's new America, on that third try,
You got it.
you got it. Made sofa lifting great again. Got it up there just enough over because his car had like railings on it. So you had to actually get it up
Get
over the
over the, yeah.
railing. And I got a little sweat going now, sports coat on, pushing this freaking for me and Bear out in the parking lot.
Did you get a selfie of you and Bear in front of
I
the
got
couch?
some. I'll show you. I got a couple pictures. I didn't take a selfie with Bear. I took a couple pictures that he couldn't see me taking just because I wanted to. I figured, and I had a presentation the next morning, so this is so going to go.
Show prep, man.
That's right. But got it up there, and he got a strap out. He had a one of these yellow straps, and I didn't want to coach him too much.
Yeah, because you hope so, because the worst thing that could happen, him driving down the road and that sucker falls off.
He had about a 20-minute drive. I don't know where he was going. So he straps this thing on there, and it's like, okay.
What did he do? Strap it through the car?
Yeah. Like he threw a strap over. He put the windows down on the two back doors, had the strap come through, and I'm like, gosh, man,
Yeah,
the
you better hope that
aerodynamics.
baby's balanced.
I'm looking at this like the aerodynamics of this don't make sense, and maybe whatever. And I'm like,
get a little wind cut your front end of that thing, you'll lift the car.
And then I'm like, okay,
Dave, your Subaru was probably better equipped to carry that.
it was a rental car and I wasn't using it. So I tell him, I said, you got help to get this thing down? He said, oh yeah, I got help. And then I thought, why am I asking him that?
Yeah, that's almost like an offer, Dave.
That's what I'm saying. After the words came out of my mouth, I realized you better have somebody to help you take this down, because I'm not following you to your enclosure or wherever you live to. But it was one of those things, Juan. I kind of stood there and got him set up, and like I said, the guy, I don't know how long the guys had rough times. I don't know what led to,
Oh, you're blessed to be a blessing, Dave.
and I'm just going, all right. And then I thought about it for a sec while he was doing something down. So I reached in my wallet, pulled like $25 out, and I said, here, man.
Dude, you the man.
I said, I gave him $25 for gas, because I said, here, man, I think here's for gas. Oh, so you have to do that, Dave? I'm like, hey, you got it, dude. I went, you have a great holiday season, whatever we got coming up. But that's just, but dude, I'm also, and I don't know if it takes away from the blessing, but I catch myself sometimes like thinking, okay, I'm going to earn all the points I can earn right now. Like if there's a, okay, like here's the check times of when you were a good dude, and man, you were like a freaking jerk.
Well,
all right. So I had the
opportunity. Tell you, if you consider it, that's God telling you to do it.
All right. So there you go. And then, I did not hang around to see. I made sure he had it. I didn't see him pull out, dude. I wanted to end my Bear story happy. He may well have,
got in an 18-wheeler.
He might have gone a mile down the road and had that freaking sofa sleeper come flying off the back of that car, took out, but
and you feel so. My son, the one that went to Alabama and works remotely yet lives near LSU now, he tells me, yeah, he goes out for a walk. This is not the granola one. This is the younger one. And he's quote unquote befriended this guy who hangs out at the Circle K near his house, and the guy's he thinks is homeless. So he'll visit with him. You know, the guy was sick a couple weeks ago. My son had some extra antibiotics laying around, and he brought them to him. And I said, "Please tell me you didn't give him the prescription bottle with your name on it." And he said, "Oh no, no, I didn't do that." He'll bring him food and stuff, and
That's nice.
yeah. And so he said, "I'm trying to figure out, where there's a church near there. Maybe I can, maybe they've got some program. I think the guy's got addiction issues and stuff." But there's as a parent, I guess you sit down and there's a part of me said, "I raised a good guy, man. Look at there. He's helping people." And there's a part I said, "Dude, leave that homeless guy alone before you get yourself hurt."
I know. Yeah. Sadly, that's how it is because it used to be, I think, a long time ago when if somebody was truly on their own like that, it was for reasons besides
Right,
addiction.
right. They weren't
Or
scamming anybody. And he said this guy, he knows he's got, he said he's got addiction issues, so he's run out of help from his family. So, um,
that'll do it.
yeah,
That'll
but
do it. But yeah. So I hope Bear's having a good. I
doing good.
hope somebody slept well on that.
You wonder if he tested it out, 'cause sometimes you sleep on a sofa sleeper and that bar's in your
No.
back, man. It's bad.
So but maybe they could send some of that unwanted. And it was actually in pretty decent shape. The furniture was not terrible.
Yeah, you figure they're probably just changing the
They were
decor.
just that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. But maybe some of the extra furniture they could send to the homes in Florida that FEMA decided to pass on.
Those would be the ones that had certain political signs in their yard. That's what I'm hearing.
Those of you that didn't, so those of you that aren't mad, I read some lines that's pretty good. Those of you who think you hate the government, you don't hate them enough. So this came out, and it's nobody's really denying it. It's because it's obvious. In FEMA, FEMA crews working post, I think it was Hurricane Milton. Which one
There's
was
one
it?
in Florida.
Okay. So this young lady, I don't have her name in front of me, but I hope they're making her famous, and my goodness, I hope she goes
Yeah, it
to
was
jail.
not the whole organization. It's just one.
But let me tell you something, Juan. They're saying it's not the whole organization. But if you've got somebody in a position to be giving instructions
Yeah,
to workers, you're high enough up in the organization that it kind of gives you a hint that she's not the only one.
right. And to point out further, so this was the second hurricane. So the one after the one that went through North Carolina that FEMA was taking heat for, that everybody on the other side was saying, "Oh, y'all just making that crap up."
Right. They're making it up that y'all know. So this, whatever her title was, that was giving instructions and basically instructed the FEMA folks to skip houses that had a Trump sign or any signs of supporting Trump. So let's understand what this is, guys. This is a government agency with your money
Paid for by us, works
paid
for
for
us.
by any of you who pays taxes, who is tasked with going to help citizens in need, citizens who have just had a hurricane, damage, destroy
Potentially their second in weeks.
their homes. Exactly. People a lot of them at their greatest moments of need. And this government worker tells the teams, skip the houses that have a Trump sign on them. I don't care who you are. If you're okay with that, you suck. That's just like, and
Yeah, if it had been the other way, it'd have been just as disgusting.
100%. Like, but in a way, and with all like hoping that the people that got skipped over were made whole and nobody freaking, had to suffer way more or die because of these actions. In a way, it almost helps because you have to have people get their head around the fact
Right.
that we need some things cleaned out. We need, right? So I don't know, get angry about that, but that's something to get angry. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you hear and you think, right? You suspect, and then you get evidence, and
Well, the whole thing is, you go back to what you said oftentimes, you need some more conspiracy theories because all the other ones have come true.
well, there you go. But so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's going to be a fun Fun few weeks, y'all. So we'll have.
I tell you what I'm most looking forward to, and I hope this happens. You talked about the Trump brand earlier. And I listen to, I said earlier, a lot of satellite radio. So I don't think they have the same commercials on the cable news that they have on there.
Wait, I think I know where you're going.
But every other commercial on, whether it's Fox News, whether it's whatever network Megyn Kelly's on that I listen to, hi, your favorite president, Donald Trump, with the watch. Then the other one is it Mike Huckabee, guy from that used to be governor of Arkansas. President Trump isn't being treated fairly by the media. So he's come up with a line of kids' books that show our kids, the true story about President Trump.
Yeah.
I just pray that those have to get pulled off now that, once he's inaugurated.
I think they do. You can't, I don't think Trump can be out there selling Trump watches, but it's so, but
sneakers.
Here's the deal.
Flying off the shelf.
That's his addiction. That's who he's always been. And yes, I mean, what? This is a great watch. Best. It's Trump time.
Watch you wear. What's the chances that a watch that cheap has ever been on?
How much are they? I didn't even hear the price.
Wrist.
I didn't hear the
price. They don't say it. You got to go to TrumpWatches.com to find out the price.
Is that what it is? TrumpWatches.com?
TrumpWatches.com.
Hang on a sec. Juan, entertain the people here while I pull this up.
Well, look, you talked. So I used to listen, and it's still a popular morning show. It's based in Dallas. It's the Kid Craddock morning show.
Yeah.
And years ago, when Trump was doing, what was his show? The Apprentice. He was on the show, and one of the guys, Big Al, told him, because that was when they had Trump ties and everything, and he said, "You ought to do Trump water."
Oh, he did it too.
And he did it. And so for a couple of years after that, the guy on the radio show would play that bit and say that he stole his idea. So yeah, the dude will brand anything.
They must have crashed because I can't get it to pull up, man.
All right. Well, and I also love the way that he refers to himself in the third person.
Always.
I think they love Trump. What do you think? They're Trump supporters.
Oh, here we go. Trump watches. Let's see. It's I'm sorry. It's Get Trump Watches.
Oh, okay. Get Trump Watches.
Come on, Juan. You had me chasing Oh my gosh. Oh, dude. Oh, gotta buy one.
How much?
Oh, some of these are pretty dang expensive, bro. Hang on a sec. So, hey, those of you out there who were thinking about, getting into the Get Trump watches. Okay, the first one, it's so gaudy. It's gold and diamonds. Victory Collection. Winner.
Now let's be real. You think it's diamonds?
Dude, I don't know. Probably not real. 18 karat. It says 18 karat gold and diamonds. $899. Pre-order that. Some other ones here. There's a 7-watch Victory Box set. Ultra Mega Collector Set. I guess you can change out the face. It has changeable faces, and one of them is like literally Donald's face. One of them is face. They got various. They got Mar-a-Lago. They got Trump Tower. Oh man, President Trump 45, 47. Well, the Ultra Mega Collector Set is $5,389.
Christ.
Yeah, so they might be, and then if you want to go cheap, the two-tone gold and silver Victory Collection My President is $599. So they're not.
So that's buy some of those for Christmas for your favorite liberal friends.
You know what's if it wasn't so expensive, I'd buy a bunch of them. What are you talking about? I'm not playing that kind of joke.
No. Maybe $29.99. I'd do a couple.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. It's Trump time, buddy.
Yep, that's it.
I always love that though. But it's kind of funny though. I guess he probably has that trademark. It's your favorite president.
Oh yeah. I think it's everybody's favorite president. And you just hear the spot and it's probly not scripted. It's just, hey everybody, it's Donald Trump, your favorite president.
My favorite thing about those commercials, is toward the end they say, not for investment purposes.
Yeah.
Those of you that are out there saying, you know what? I'm gonna load up on some
I'm
Trump
gonna drop
watches.
100 grand on these watches because in the 2 or 3 years they're gonna be worth 200 grand.
Oh, yeah.
But it
Good
does
times,
give you it does give the naive the sense that, man, this must be going up in value. They saying that.
man. 100%. And but you know who will not be buying these watches? The vendors and staff who are being stiffed for the
Oh,
Kamala rallies. Yo, they supposedly raised $1 billion. Now,
a billion
understand
two
something.
hundred
Yeah.
1,000,000,000 2 million, and I heard that that the plan for that was to go zero. In other words, their budgeting or their budgeting plan was to reach zero. In other words, to spend it all.
Spend it all. So they now understand something too. If you believe that they actually raised $1 billion
No,
in
no.
small, and that's why you're going to find out some other things. They have these
Yeah, the
companies.
books that come out in the next 6
Yeah. Oh
months are
yeah,
going
yeah,
to be
yeah,
great.
yeah. So understand that a lot of political campaign, and not on both sides, by the way, on both sides is money laundering. That money never gets spent in the place. It's just like most of our wars. A lot of money laundering. A lot of money gets pumped into. It doesn't go where you think it's going. But anyway, so supposedly raised just over $1 billion, and the campaign is ending 20 million in the hole. But
Yeah.
apparently these rallies, these singers that performed and everything, these particular rallies, or I don't know how you identify that that's in the hole, but this is like staff and vendors are in pretty good danger of not getting paid.
Right. They said the artists did them for free. You're talking Bon Jovi, Katy
No,
Perry.
they did, but Lizzo, they paid Lizzo like 1 point something million,
Yeah. So
and
this is the
they
ones
paid
from
Beyonce like $2 million to
to do
read
nothing.
something. Yeah.
So these are the ones that I read about, at least from the event or from the Monday night, like the final push. And they were in different cities around the country. And even if the artist is performing free, well, you got a sound system that you got to get stage, you got to get a venue. I'm sure you got to have concessions there.
I
The light and sound crew.
Just goes to tell you
Um,
guys, never work for a politician on credit.
yeah. No, and you know what? The I know this for a fact. When you buy media, politicians pay up front,
Oh, you have to.
but for that reason.
You have to. You have to. And but then also the campaign people, the consultants and stuff get their cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a scam, y'all. So we'll see. Hey, we'll see. This is we're either gonna in the next year or so say, okay, I guess it's impossible to fix. Okay, you had your best shot at the outsider that's trying to burn things down, or things might, who knows? We'll see. Stay tuned, America. Dave and Juan will be there to help walk you through it. We're
Can be exciting couple of months and
here,
beyond.
and we'll throw some Bayou stories in there. Pretend the guy that I just told you the story about Bear. Pretend that was my partner Eugene from the
Look, I
Bayou.
got to kind of buy you a little story, a Bayou attitude culture. So, we've been getting some rain here. I told you last week we got like 8 inches of stuff, which and when the rain comes, the red ants come out.
Oh boy.
The So during the week we had a big old my wife saw, because my foot's injured, I can't cut grass. So she
Poor
was
thing.
off on I know, she was off on election day. So she cut out a little grass. And there was an anthill in the backyard. So she just took the hose and hosed it down.
Right.
Because she's not experienced with ant piles. So today I looked out there, and of course the ant pile is now 3 times bigger than it was. So I went in my garage to look for some ant poison, which I of course don't have. I went old school on it, man. I brought out a gallon jug of gas.
Oh geez.
It was too close to the house to light, but I pretty much soaked the hill. And about 2 hours later, I went to poke it. Nothing. So far so good.
So you realize pouring a gallon or so of gas that's too close to your house to light, you basically got an explosive device ready to go off near your house, man.
Yeah, but it's gonna rain again and it'll wash it away.
All right. There you go. EPA approved by the EPA.
Yep.
Dump it on there. Back in the old days, man. Diesel.
Oof.
I miss having a big barrel of diesel at my
That's right.
Right.
Liquid edger.
There you go. There you go. All right, everybody. We about reached that time. The buffet is before you. We're going to push the button. Get on out of here. See if any of this stuff stuck to the magic tape in the sky. If you want to reach us, we're not hard to find, y'all. It's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com.
It's right here.
Right here. Wherever you at.
And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to figure out how to put this baby on Twitter.
Yeah,
so,
we got to get on
X. I'm sorry.
We got to get on X. Yeah. Buddy Raleigh texted me during the week for something, and I'm listening to y'all while I mow the grass. I'm like, hey, there you go. That's glad to accompany a working man out there.
That's right.
I bet you this podcast is extra enjoyable with the smell of freshly cut grass. That's something we might need to try one time. Juan, just do this thing in the back of a truck.
Well, maybe we could just get like a little sound effect in the back of a mower.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to see if Apple MacBook has that or not. We'll see. Hey, y'all, we tell you every week, it's not a hint, suggestion, subtle implication. I don't know if subtle implication is the proper.
I think it is.
Whatever. I say it's the kind of thing I've said that about 1,000 times, and as I'm saying it, I don't know that works. But none of that stuff. Hey, y'all, it's a freaking
mandate, dude.
Freaking mandate. Live your best life. Live your best life. You saw it.
To be honest with
this
you,
week.
for the majority of the Dave and Juan audience, I think this week, of all the weeks we've issued this mandate, this week might be the easiest one to do so.
Might be. I made a couple of splurge purchases the last couple of days because I was feeling good. I was feeling good about, taxes, getting the price of oil down.
Yeah. I saw somebody said to go fill up your gas tank today and print out the receipt and put it on your fridge.
Well, the sad part, okay, we're going to go down another. We're going to go down another path.
Never mind.
Because it's actually lower than it would have been because they've been artificially dropping it to try, But so it's gonna jack back up. But so live your best life. Live your best life. And if you had a bad week, don't shave your head. Don't.
That's rough, man. That's rough. Trust
don't
me,
swear off dating. Don't pretend that anybody cares. Okay, hey, whatever. Good.
Yeah.
Fine.
Pick up your books and go to class.
Whatever you're doing. Have a great one. We will come back again next week and see where we are. Probably going to go down the list of all the cabinet nominees and all the stuff. Well, we're going to try to we'll find out who else is on the Doge. Who is steering the ship as we go forward. All right, everybody, have a fantastic one. Be careful out there. Love you, bro.
Back at you, man. So I like most of the things that Jeff Landry does. Today's bit, LSU Alabama game, ESPN Game Day was here. Heartfelt news: Curve Street's dog passed away. They had a touching spot on that. If you hadn't seen that, look it up. But for whatever reason, when Jeff Landry ran for governor, he promised to get a live tiger back in Tiger Stadium. So tonight, Tiger's coming back. Oddly, it ain't Mike the Tiger.
Really?
It's the faux Mike, is what their people are called. Some tiger that they brought in from Florida. And it's going to be just paraded around the field in the cage. Now, you got people who get bent out of shape about the whole concept of Mike the Tiger, let alone bringing him on the field. I'm fairly indifferent about that. I mean, the thing lives in a pretty nice cage now. Yeah, bringing him out on the field for 20 minutes isn't hurting anything. But how pointless is it that we got our mascot?
It's a guest
that
tiger.
If you've never been to Tiger Stadium, Mike the Tiger lives next to Tiger Stadium.
You think they're going to smell each other and get fired up?
Oh, no.
Tiger can smell another tiger.
Yeah. It's like, what the world is this about?
Why the tiger's going to be in his cage thinking, what the?
Yeah.
Who brought a spare tiger?
Yeah, that's like,
it should have been like Mela, man. They would have done like back in the day when we had the Galliana Wildcats. We had an ugly stuffed wildcat in a glass case. Could have rolled that thing around the track. There you go.
It's over. Go home.